This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN Live. We're at the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2016. I'm doing a Wall Street view with Greg McCoach, Mining Speculator, newsletter writer, well-known person, rack on tour. Greg, welcome to SNN Live.
Thanks for having me on, Shelley.
It's good to have you. Let's get into it. You've been in the mining business, since before Eisenhower was a cadet. So let's talk about it. Let's discuss where things are at.
Okay.
We all know where they were,
Yeah.
and let's find out where they're going.
Yeah. Well, in my view, we're really looking at, a resurgence that is welcomed after such a long downturn. And from my perspective, we're not out of the woods yet, but it's good to see things recovering now. I think a lot of people in the mining business were just trying to survive these last 4 years, and now we're starting to see people make money again. The interest is coming back to our sector. You see a conference like this that's just packed, right? This is the best attendance we've had in the history of the conference. So people are writing checks for deals. People are looking for projects. That's all really good news for us.
Now, that's a big change for the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, the companies that have survived, and I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Where do you see, we're coming into the last quarter of 2016, election, U.S. election, the craziness. Where do you see 2017? Where do you see it?
Well, there's a big unknown with these U.S. elections, how that's all going to turn out. But I think from our industry, precious metals, there's a bias to the upside for a lot of reasons. We've talked about these ad nauseum over the years, but those are all in place. We start hearing about the problems with Deutsche Bank now, just like we did with AIG, and people kind of poo-pooed it, and then all of a sudden we find out AIG's in big trouble. Well, same thing with Deutsche Bank right now. So in my view, it seems like we have another 2008 coming again, but only much worse this time. So right now, I see 2017 being a very good year for the precious metals and the mining companies. I think that's, it's the predecessor event of major things that are about to happen, I think.
Now, you're a worldly person knowing about trading commodities across the board. What are we hearing about China and their position on gold? How did Brexit affect the market?
Yeah.
I mean, other than almost like a minuscule black swan event, politics, geopolitics. Where do we have to what do we have to worry about?
Well, the status quo is being threatened right now. Brexit proves that. They didn't think that was possible, and on top of the financial system issues that are going on, I think Brexit, China's moved in the last 4 years to becoming the number one gold producer, the number one holder of gold. They're King Tut when things go south. So the world could see a major change. Plus, you have China's Shanghai Gold Exchange now is trying to become the new COMEX. So they're threatening the status quo, stability of those who ran that show. And I just think there's some big changes in the works in the world. People are waking up. The power of the internet is bringing people to a greater knowledge of what's going on. So things like Brexit are an indication that we're pushing up against the status quo, and I think that's a good thing.
Greg, what are you telling your subscribers to do?
Yeah, I'm telling my subscribers to buy the stocks that are basically low price still, that haven't got the attention of the market yet. And those would be the companies that are in the exploration world that have ounces in the ground already. We're not interested in an exploration company that raises money to go find something new. The market's not interested in that yet. It may be later on, but right now we focus on good companies that are low price, that offer us big upside potential, because they have ounces in the ground, and the people that come to this conference, the fund managers, they're going to be the people who buy these shares. So my newsletter is really focused right on that sector right now. And so, yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself from other newsletters, besides being right most of the time?
We all make mistakes. I had a good track record in the early going of my newsletter the first 10 years. These last 4 years, I got punished like everybody else got punished. But one of the things that distinguishes me from others, I'm not a paid for guy. I don't do this stuff where a company cannot pay me to write them up. Okay, so there are some guys that do that. I'm not one of them. Okay, the other thing, I go out and visit the projects. I go out in the field. This fall, I've got two site visits that I'm doing. One in Colombia, another one in Nevada. I go out, I look at these things, I kick the rocks, I talk to the geos, I talk to the guys, the structural geologists on site that really have an understanding, so I can grasp if this is something we're really interested in or not. And that's what I do.
So you're the point man for your subscribers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to sift through all the companies that are out there. There's thousands of mining companies, right? And I'm trying to sift through these and find the good projects in the right jurisdictions with the right people, with the right set of circumstances. And right now, you have to have ounces in the ground already. So,
what's your background?
Yeah, my background, I've been a trader personally of these mining stocks for 35 years myself. I started the newsletter, so because at 2000, so 16 years ago, hard to believe. Prior to that, I owned a commercial print and mail facility with a partner in Denver, Colorado. We started with nothing but the shirts off our back and 3 employees, and we sold it in 1998 to a much larger fish with 72 employees. So I took that money, and that was the money, my capital money that I got involved with for getting more into the mining shares.
So you're actually an investor, and I'm sure you probably disclose in your newsletter what your holdings are.
No, I always disclose. With the new regulatory environment, we now have all newsletter writers. You disclose your positions, you disclose your sells, your buys, and things like that. So that's just par for the course. Everybody's got to do that now. It's not a choice.
Now, to find out more information about Greg, which website would you like to give out?
DiscoveryNexus.com is where the Mining Speculator, you could subscribe to it if anyone was interested in subscribing to the newsletter. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Wall Street View is conducted with Greg McCoach, and he's the Mining Speculator. He's a newsletter writer. He's a speaker, raconteur, etc. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN Live, and we're coming to you live from the Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, Colorado, 2016. Greg, thanks for coming on.
It's a pleasure.